Later, when Artaxerxes became the new king of Persia, some of these men wrote another letter complaining about the Jews. The men who wrote the letter were Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel, and the other people in their group. The letter was written in Aramaic and translated. Then Rehum, the commanding officer, and Shimshai, the secretary, wrote a letter against the people of Jerusalem. They wrote the letter to Artaxerxes the king. This is what they wrote. From Rehum, the commanding officer, and Shimshai the secretary, and from the judges and important officials over the men from Tripolis, Persia, Erech, and Babylon, and from the Elamites from Susa, and from the other people who the great and powerful Ashurbanipal moved to the city of Samaria and other places in the country west of the Euphrates River. This is the copy of the letter sent to King Artaxerxes. From your servants living in the area west of the Euphrates River. King Artaxerxes, we wish to inform you that the Jews you sent from there are now in Jerusalem. They are trying to rebuild that terrible city. The people there have always rebelled against other kings. Now they have almost finished repairing the foundations and building the walls. Also, King Artaxerxes, you should know that if Jerusalem and its walls are rebuilt, the people of Jerusalem will stop paying their taxes. They will stop sending money to honor you. They also will stop paying customs fees, and the king will lose all that money. We have a responsibility to the king. We don't want to see this happen, so we are sending this letter to inform the king. King Artaxerxes, we suggest that you search the writings of the kings who ruled before you. You will see in the writings that Jerusalem always rebelled against other kings. It has caused much trouble for other kings and nations. Many rebellions have started in the city since ancient times. That is why Jerusalem was destroyed. King Artaxerxes, we wish to inform you that if this city and its walls are rebuilt, you will lose control of the area west of the Euphrates River. Then King Artaxerxes sent this answer to Rehum, the commanding officer, Shimshai the secretary, and all the people with them living in Samaria and other places west of the Euphrates River. Greetings. The letter you sent us has been translated and read to me. I gave an order for the writings of the kings before me to be searched. The writings were read, and we found out that Jerusalem has a long history of rebellion against kings. Jerusalem has been a place where rebellion and revolt has happened often. Jerusalem has had powerful kings ruling over it, and over the whole area west of the Euphrates River. Their kings receive taxes, customs, fees, and tribute. Now, you must give an order for these men to stop work. That order must be given to keep Jerusalem from being rebuilt until I say so. Be careful not to overlook this matter. We should not let the building of Jerusalem continue. If that work continues, I will not get any more money from Jerusalem. So a copy of the letter that King Artaxerxes sent was read to Rehum, Shimshai, the secretary, and the people with them. They went very quickly to the Jews in Jerusalem and forced them to stop building. After these things, during the rule of King Artaxerxes of Persia, Ezra came to Jerusalem from Babylon. Ezra was the son of Sariah. Sariah was the son of Azariah. Azariah was the son of Hilkiah. Hilkiah was the son of Shallum. Shallum was the son of Zadok. Zadok was the son of Ahitub. Ahitub was the son of Amariah. Amariah was the son of Azariah. Azariah was the son of Marioth. Marioth was the son of Zerahiah. Zerahiah was the son of Uzziah. Uzziah was the son of Bukai. Bukai was the son of Abishua. Abishua was the son of Phinehas. Phinehas was the son of Eleazar. Eleazar was the son of Aaron, the high priest. Ezra came to Jerusalem from Babylon. He was a teacher and knew the law of Moses very well. The law of Moses was given by the Lord, the God of Israel. King Artaxerxes gave Ezra everything he asked for because the Lord was with Ezra. Among the people who came with Ezra were Israelites, priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, and temple servants. They arrived in Jerusalem during the 7th year of King Artaxerxes. Ezra arrived in Jerusalem in the 5th month of the 7th year that Artaxerxes was king. Ezra left Babylon on the 1st day of the 1st month and arrived in Jerusalem on the 1st day of the 5th month. With God's blessing, his trip went well. Ezra had always given his time and attention to studying and obeying the law of the Lord. He also loved to teach its rules and commandments to others in Israel. Ezra was a priest and teacher. He knew much about the commands and laws the Lord gave Israel. This is a copy of the letter King Artaxerxes gave to Ezra the teacher. From King Artaxerxes to Ezra the priest, a teacher of the law of the God of heaven. Greetings! I give this order. Any of the Israelites living in my kingdom, including priests and Levites, who want to go with you to Jerusalem may go. I and my 7 advisors send you to Judah and Jerusalem. Go and see how your people are doing in obeying the law of your God. You have that law with you. I and my advisors are giving gold and silver to the God of Israel, who lives in Jerusalem. You must take this gold and silver with you. You must also go through all the provinces of Babylonia. Collect the gifts from your people, from the priests and from the Levites. The gifts are for the temple of their God in Jerusalem. Use this money to buy bulls, rams, and male lambs. Buy the grain offerings and drink offerings that go with these sacrifices. Then sacrifice them on the altar in the temple of your God in Jerusalem. Then you and the other Jews may spend the silver and gold left over any way you want to. Use it in a way that is pleasing to your God. Take all these things to the God of Jerusalem, there for the worship in the temple of your God. And you may get any other things that you need for the temple of your God. Use the money in the king's treasury to buy anything you need. Now I, King Artaxerxes, give this order. I order all the men who keep the king's money in the area west of the Euphrates River to give Ezra anything he wants. Ezra is a priest and a teacher of the law of the God of heaven. Do this quickly and completely. Give this much to Ezra: 3 3/4 tons of silver, 600 bushels of wheat, 600 gallons of wine, 600 gallons of olive oil, and as much salt as Ezra wants. Anything that the God of heaven has ordered for Ezra to get, you must give to Ezra quickly and completely. Do this for the temple of the God of heaven. We don't want God to be angry with my kingdom or my sons. I want you men to know that it is against the law to make the priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, temple servants, and other workers in God's temple pay taxes. They don't have to pay taxes, money to honor the king, or any customs fees. Ezra, I give you the authority to use the wisdom you have from your God and choose civil and religious judges. These men will be judges for all the people living in the area west of the Euphrates River. They will judge all the people who know the laws of your God, and they will teach those who don't know those laws. Anyone who does not obey the law of your God or the law of the king must be punished. Depending on the crime, they must be punished with death, or sent away to another country, or their property taken away, or put into prison. Blessed is the Lord, the God of our ancestors. He put the idea into the king's heart to honor the Lord's temple in Jerusalem. God showed his faithful love to me in front of the king, his advisors, and the king's important officials. The Lord my God was with me, and that gave me courage. I gathered together the leaders of Israel to go with me to Jerusalem. These are the names of the family leaders and the other people who came with me to Jerusalem from Babylon. We came to Jerusalem during the rule of King Artaxerxes. Here's the list of names. From the descendants of Phinehas, Gershom. From the descendants of Ithamar, Daniel. From the descendants of David, Haddish. From the descendants of Shechaniah, the descendants of Perish, Zechariah, and 150 other men. From the descendants of Pahath Moab, Elionai, son of Zariah, and 200 other men. From the descendants of Zadok, Shechaniah, son of Jahaziel, and 300 other men. From the descendants of Adin, Ebed, son of Jonathan, and 50 other men. From the descendants of Elam, Jeshiah, son of Athaliah, and 70 other men. From the descendants of Shephatiah, Zebediah, son of Michael, and 80 other men. From the descendants of Joab, Obadiah, son of Jeiel, and 218 other men. From the descendants of Bani, Shelemith, son of Josephiah, and 160 other men. From the descendants of Bebai, Zechariah, son of Bebai, and 28 other men. From the descendants of Azgad, Johanan, son of Hakatan, and 110 other men. from the last of the descendants of Adonikim, Eliphalet, Jeuel, Shemaiah, and 60 other men. From the descendants of Bigvai, Uthai, Zakur, and 70 other men. I called all these people to meet together at the river that flows toward Ahava. We camped at that place for 3 days. I learned there were priests in the group, but there were no Levites. So I called these leaders: Eleazar, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Jerub, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam. And I called Joyarib and Elnathan. These men were teachers. I sent them in to Iddo, leader in the town of Casaphia. I told them what to say to Iddo and his relatives, who are the temple workers in Casaphia. I told the men to ask Iddo and his relatives to send us workers to serve in God's temple. Because God was with us, they sent Sherebiah, a skilled man from the descendants of Mali. Mali was the son of Levi, one of Israel's sons. They also sent his sons and brothers, 18 men in all. They also sent Hashabiah and Jeshiah from the descendants of Merari, along with their brothers and nephews. In all there were 20 men. Besides these, there were 220 temple workers, whose ancestors had been chosen by David and his officials to help the Levites. The names of all these men were written on the list. There, near the Ahava River, I announced that we all should fast. We should fast to make ourselves humble before our God. We wanted to ask God for a safe trip for ourselves, our children, and for everything we owned. I was embarrassed to ask King Artaxerxes for soldiers and horsemen to protect us as we traveled. There were enemies on the road. The reason I was embarrassed to ask for protection was because of what we had told the king. We had said to King Artaxerxes, "Our God is with everyone who trusts him, but he is very angry with everyone who turns away from him." So we fasted and prayed to our God about our trip. He answered our prayers. Then I chose 12 of the priests who were leaders. I chose Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers. I weighed the silver, gold, and the other things that were given for God's temple. I gave them to the 12 priests I had chosen. King Artaxerxes, his advisors, his important officials, and all the Israelites in Babylon gave those things for God's temple. I weighed all these things. There were 25 tons of silver. There were also 7,500 pounds of silver dishes and things. There were 3 3/4 tons of gold. And I gave them 20 gold bowls. The bowls weighed about 19 pounds. And I gave them 2 beautiful dishes made from polished bronze that were as valuable as gold. Then I said to the 12 priests, "You and these things are holy to the Lord." People gave this silver and gold to the Lord, the God of your ancestors. So guard these things carefully. You are responsible for them until you give them to the temple leaders in Jerusalem. You will give them to the leading Levites and the family leaders of Israel. They will weigh them and put them in the rooms of the Lord's temple in Jerusalem. So the priests and Levites accepted the silver, gold, and special things that Ezra had weighed and given to them. They were told to take them to God's temple in Jerusalem. On the 12th day of the first month, we left the Ahava River and started toward Jerusalem. God was with us, and He protected us from enemies and robbers along the way. Then we arrived in Jerusalem. We rested there for 3 days. On the 4th day, we went to the temple and weighed the silver, gold, and special things. We gave them to Meremoth, son of Uriah the priest. Eleazar, son of Phinehas, was with Meremoth. The Levites, Jozabad, son of Jeshua, and Noadiah, son of Benai, were with them also. We counted and weighed everything and wrote down the total weight. Then the Jewish people who came back from captivity offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel. They offered 12 bulls for all Israel, 96 rams, 77 male lambs, and 12 male goats for a sin offering. All this was a burnt offering for the Lord. Then the people gave the letter from King Artaxerxes to the royal satraps and to the governors of the area west of the Euphrates River. Then the leaders gave their support to the Israelites and to the temple.